Bienvenidos a Cosmere 16, un programa dedicado a la obra de Brandon Sanderson y en especial al Cosmere, claro. Y hoy las presentaciones sobran. Hoy estoy muy emocionado de poder presentar a Katie Payne, directora artística de Cosmere RPG, así que le voy a dar paso inmediatamente. Hello, Katie.
Hi, hello.
Y a su lado está Mario del Rincón de Hoyt, que nos hará de traductor simultáneo. Así que infinitas gracias, Mario.
A ti por, como te he dicho desde el principio, por haber pensado en mí y por contar conmigo para el proyecto. La verdad es que estoy súper ilusionado y muy agradecido.
Perfecto. Katie, hay una cosa que no sabes y es que cuando alguien viene al programa de Cosmere 16, le hacemos un regalo. No sé cómo hacértelo llegar, pero de alguna manera vas a recibir esto.
Okay, so Katie, whenever someone comes to the program, there's a gift. That's the pin you just saw. Borja's not totally sure how he's gonna how he's gonna send it or how it's going to be the process to send it to you, but he'll find a way to do it.
Well, you should come to the Dragonsteel convention.
Me gustaría, pero este año es difícil.
This year's gonna be rough, but he would love to, and honestly, I would love to too.
Pero tengo un amigo que va y a lo mejor se lo hago, le hago entrega para que te lo dé a ti.
But he's got a friend that's going, so maybe he'll give the pin to the person, so that person can give it to you.
Él sí.
Okay. Oh, I'm excited for my pin.
Muchas
Thank
gracias.
you.
Vamos a empezar con una pregunta básica, pero que creo que es necesaria, y es ¿quién eres, Katie? ¿Qué nos puedes explicar de ti?
So the first question is a really basic one. It's who are you and what can you tell us about you?
Okay, who am I? So my name is Katie Payne. I am the art director on the Cosmere RPG. I am also the art director on the Mistborn deck building game, and I am also an illustrator for the RPG and Shards of Creation. I was a Cosmere super fan just like you guys, and I got to this point not because I started a podcast like you guys, but I, as an artist, showed my fan love through art, through pictures, and I would make products and stickers and stuff like that, and I just did that for fun, and that's why I got hired as the art director.
Hemos visto un vídeo en el canal de Brandon Sanderson y un vídeo en el canal de Brotherwise donde explicas todo tu proceso desde que eres fan artist hasta que llegas a directora artística del Cosmere RPG y del juego de cartas de Mistborn. Así que recomendamos a todo el mundo que quiera saber esta historia que vaya a ver estos dos vídeos.
So we've seen two videos of you speaking both in Brandon's channel and also in the Broadway channel, talking about your story of how you got to the Cosmere RPG as an art director and from being a fun artist. So we really suggest everyone that they should go watch those videos and learn a bit more.
Yeah, you can go watch the videos and see it there. Yeah, there's the one on Brandon's channel, the interview, and then there was the live stream. Yeah. And I have lots of videos on Instagram and things.
Me gustaría empezar a hablar por el Kickstarter, porque creo que es además de lo más reciente, lo más impactante. Empezó como el Stormlight RPG y ha acabado como el Cosmere RPG. ¿Cómo vivisteis desde dentro la sorpresa de una hora antes pasar de un juego más pequeño a un juego de todo el Cosmere?
So the Kickstarter is the first thing we want to talk about. How did you manage and how did you live from the inside the switch from a smaller game that was going to be the Roshar or the Stormlight Archive RPG, how did you feel and how did you leave the switch to it being the full Cosmere RPG?
Oh, how did I live it? Like, how did I feel about it? Because when Johnny called me at the beginning of 2023, it was February. He told me right off the bat. He's like, "It's a Cosmere RPG." So I knew all the way back then, but it honestly it wasn't so shocking feeling for me when it was revealed, because the Stormlight side of it has taken most of all of this time. I've been on it. It's been like 2 years, but I was on the project like about a year and a half, and that whole time, well, most of that time we focused on the Stormlight side, but there was that pocket of time where we did the Mistborn deck building game, so there has been some Mistborn too, but it's felt very Stormlight heavy, and it makes me kind of sad. I was thinking, well, once we finish the Stormlight RPG, are we not gonna do anything else with Stormlight? Like, do we just kind of leave that behind? I was kind of feeling sad about that. I'm like, I kind of guess so, because if like the 2 major books are out, that's like that's like what all that work was for. So yeah, but I mean, there'll be smaller things, but
Sí, iba a comentar justamente que como el Cosmere RPG iba a ser un juego vivo, según ha dicho Johnny y según ha dicho Sanderson, sabemos que seguramente, no sé si cada libro o cada 2 libros del archivo, tendremos más módulos del juego de rol de Rorschach, suponemos.
So it's been said that the RPG is going to be a live game and it's going to be updating and evolving throughout the whole time. We suppose that around every 2 Rorschach books, more or less, there will be an update to the Rorschach content in the RPG, more or less.
Is that what they said? Is that what brother like Johnny said? Because
no,
actually I don't know.
No. Suponemos que irán actualizando. El juego de rol estará vivo, así que imaginamos que cada pocos libros volveremos a Rorschach.
That's on us. It's just us thinking that it'll be evolving and going on. Sorry, it was my bad translating. Sorry.
No, that's fine. No, it's possible, because I think that would be too sad. I mean, Stormlight is the biggest franchise, so to think down the line we aren't just going to be revisiting it, I don't think that makes sense. So we probably will. I just haven't asked or talked about it.
Exacto.
Yeah.
Vamos a hablar un poco de números. El Cosmere RPG ha llegado al 3er puesto del Kickstarter más financiado de la historia, con 14,5 millones de dólares. Entiendo que nadie esperaba estos números, ¿no?
Okay, so let's talk a bit about numbers. The RPG is currently the 3rd most backed thing in Kickstarter ever. So with 40.5 million, did anyone expect those numbers? Because it was really shocking to see them.
I mean, you wanted to think so. So there was Laura, who works on the RPG. She typed at the beginning of August and said in the Discord, because we work in a Discord, she said, if this doesn't make at least 15 million, like, I will be shocked. And everyone was like, I don't know, because it made 15 million. But she replied and said, I told you. So Laura knew. I was hoping for big numbers, but
Laura tenía fortuna.
Yeah, she had access to fortune.
Oh, yeah. Fortune, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hablando ahora de tu trabajo en el juego de rol, me gustaría saber cómo equilibras el mantener tu propio estilo con lo que se espera de ti dentro del juego.
So, moving on to your work in the RPG now, we'd like to know how you find a balance between your own style and what's expected of you for the game and for the illustration.
So because I've been doing so much art direction, I've really been okay. I haven't felt any sort of issue. So part of art directing is you have to know your artist. You have to know what they like to do, their strengths, their weaknesses. So you have to know what kind of, it's called a visual brief, what you want them to make. You know, I'm not going to give, like one artist, I was just emailing her and I said, hey, I have this brief I want you to do. And she said, well, I don't want it to have a really complex background. And I already knew that. So I was like, this doesn't have one because I know that you don't like to do those. So when I've done art, I would say Johnny, who's the owner of Brotherwise and the creative director and an art director in his own right, and very good. And that's where I learned how to art direct, is from Johnny. So when I've made art, he just art directs me. And so he does a good job with me. He knows what I want to do. So it's been good. I haven't had problems.
En una de tus entrevistas comentabas que había más de 400 imágenes para el juego de rol. ¿Cómo gestionas tal cantidad de arte y a tantos artistas?
So in one of your interviews, you said there are more than 400 images and pieces of art for the RPG game. How do you find a way to manage such a huge amount of both work and, we assume, artists? Because we assume it's a lot of artists too.
It's crazy. I just like today. I just have to be fast and efficient and experienced, because you have to be. It's hard. It's like really hard. It's been really, really hard. But it's been good. I like it. I think it's cool to be getting so much done. And you know, Johnny and I have this thing where we just say, just keep going. Just err on the side of keep going. And then we can, if there's a mistake, we'll figure it out. Instead of like not doing something because you're not totally sure about something and you just don't do it. It's like, just do it. Just send them the feedback. Just tell them you like that thumbnail. Just, you know, and then just get that far and then fix it if there's a mistake. And I think that's been really, without that, these games would not be getting done. Like, you know, you got to be a good worker on top of like artist and fan, you know.
¿Cuánto tiempo habéis tenido desde que pedisteis las primeras commissions hasta que se han entregado todas, más o menos?
So, how long has it taken since the first commissions arrived to the last ones? More or less, how long was it for? How long did it take?
How long to do all of them, or like one?
From the first to the last one.
Because we're not done. We're not done. Like even right now, I've got my email open and I was sending an artist an email. So we're not done. How about that? But we're still working.
Y más o menos, ¿de cuántos artistas estamos hablando, si se puede saber?
More or less, how many artists are we talking about? How many artists are working in the RPG project?
So I'm also combining the Mistborn deck building game. So it's about 100.
Wow.
I think. Wait, is that right? No, is it 100? What? I used to know. Oh no. It was like 97 Mistborn. That's the number I'm thinking of. It was like 97 Mistborn images for the Mistborn deck building game. But the artist might have been more like 80, not 100. It's probably more like 80.
Es una barbaridad. Sigue siendo una barbaridad.
Yeah, it's still a lot of artists to manage.
Sí. Yeah.
Esto, más que una pregunta, es un comentario. Estoy muy agradecido de que hayáis contratado a tanta gente y sobre todo a fans del Cosmere para que hagan el trabajo de esto, que estoy seguro que es su trabajo soñado.
So this is just a comment, it's not a question, but Borja, and I'll extend it to me too, and we're really happy that you hired so many Cosmere fans and fan artists that are really, really happy and they really love Cosmere, they're really into it, and that this is probably a dream job for them. It's one of the life goals.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I've thought about that, and I still do when I'm sending a brief, like, because I mean, being able to make someone so happy is important. I think that's at the core of these books it's just making people happy.
Gracias.
So, I'd like to make artists happy. Oh, yeah.
Vale, ahora como esto es un podcast en castellano, nos gustaría saber si hay artistas trabajando de habla hispana y si es que sí, si nos podrías decir más o menos cuántos hay.
So as this is a Spanish podcast, Spanish-speaking podcast, we'd like to know if there are any Spanish-speaking artists, and more or less if they are, how many there are, if you know the number.
Oh. There's a lot of artists that there's a lot of artists that English is not their first language and they don't live in the United States or anything. Yeah, there's definitely some Spanish speakers, but I don't know because they try to speak English to me.
Para mí
I
eso
have to like look them up.
Para mí eso, como sabrás, la comunidad hispana del Cosmere, pues obviamente no es tan fuerte como la angloparlante, pero los españoles y los latinos somos muy fans del Cosmere.
Yeah. So Spanish-speaking community is not as big as the English-speaking community, but still both Spaniards and Latin people, we're really, really passionate about the Cosmere.
No, I know. Well, you know why I know that is because I would go to Brandon's class at BYU, and he talked about that at the class. He said, when I've traveled for my books, he's like, there's certain places in the world that I go, and he said the first place I always go is Spain. He said they just love me in Spain. That's how I know.
Sí, además Emily estudió en España y habla español muy bien.
Yeah, also it helps that Emily studied in Spain and she also speaks Spanish.
Oh, okay. Emily does?
Yeah, she does.
Sí, Emily de hecho estuvo en la última convención importante española para anunciar que el año que viene vendrá Brandon Sanderson.
So in Spain we've got a big convention that's called Celsius 232, and it was hosted a few months ago. And
what's it called?
Celsius, CELSIUS 232.
Oh, did Emily go to that? Because I know she went out of town.
She went there for the closing ceremony of the last edition, and she announced Brandon was coming next year.
Oh yeah.
And it's hosted in a town, and instantly all the apartments, everything, every hotel, everything around it, totally sold out.
Really?
Yeah.
Celsius 232 equals Fahrenheit 451.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Ahora, aprovecho que hemos sacado el tema del Celsius, lo quería sacar más tarde, pero aprovecho. El Celsius se suele celebrar en julio, en España, y el Cosmere RPG sabemos que, como mínimo en PDF, saldrá más o menos en esa época. Entiendo que no lo sabéis, no lo habéis planificado, pero ¿hay alguna posibilidad de que ya que va Brandon a la convención se prepare algo del juego?
So the festival is, with this question was prepared for later, but it just fits so well here. The festival is usually hosted in July, and it's more or less the date that the PDF files for the RPG are gonna be available and sent. It's when they're gonna release. So maybe you have,
With
maybe
the
not.
festival?
Maybe have you planned anything or around the festival, like anything special, any event? Because
So for next year?
yeah.
Okay. I mean, Jillian with Brotherwise is the marketing manager. So she would know. And so you're asking, is there anything planned with the RPG to release with this festival?
Si hay alguna cosa preparada para esa fecha, porque como Brandon va a ir al festival, sería un buen momento para hacer algún tipo de presentación.
Or if there's anything prepared around those dates, because as Brandon's coming to the festival, it would be a good timing for doing any sort of presentation.
Yeah, well, I'll pass that along. That's, I didn't know that, but I will pass that along. That's good to know. Sounds very cool. Maybe she can go out there, Jillian. She's so cool.
Ya, sí, puedo confirmar que sí. Ha sido...
You probably know her from Twitter.
De Twitter y de Discord, se ha portado súper bien con todo el mundo, ha sido una trabajadora incansable. Desde aquí un saludo a Gillian y felicidades por el trabajo que ha hecho.
So, I just wanted to say hi to Jillian, give her a shout out for all the great work she's done and for being unstoppable both on Twitter and Discord and everywhere, just working and keeping a really great job around. And
she's incredible.
Para los que estáis escuchando esto en podcast y no en vídeo, Katie ha enseñado al gato, que ha sido muy gracioso además, porque ha saludado.
My gato.
¿Cómo se llama?
What's the name of the cat?
Oh, his name is Hachi, which means bee
Hachi.
in Japanese. Do you guys know the apple dance?
Yeah.
Wait, what is it? Oh, sorry.
Ha sido adorable.
Too cute. So cute.
Ahora a ver cómo continúa esto. Ok. Esta es una pregunta que me ha hecho bastante gente y es que les gustaría poder comprar o poderse imprimir o tener algún recopilatorio de los artes, de todos los artes que están apareciendo y los que aparecerán, sobre todo en el Cosmere RPG. Así que, no sé, ¿tenéis planificado algún tipo de release, de prints o de alguna cosa?
So quite a lot of people has asked about this, and it's there's loads and loads of art of the Cosmere RPG, and there's still, as you said, there's still more to come. So have you planned anything, or will there be available to print or to download or to do something with them, just to have them at home? Maybe a book, an art book with all the art. Maybe it be possible to buy prints, or will they be available to the public, just as art pieces standalone?
Well, all of the art is meant to go and will be in the RPG books.
Mm-hmm.
But for prints, that's up to the individual artists, and I will encourage them all to sell prints. I know some of these images are going to be fast fan favorites ever done. And you've seen a lot of those part of the advertising, but there's more to come that are just going to be something you'd want on your wall, bigger than in the book. So, I mean, I would encourage the artists to sell prints.
Ok. Vale, ahora creo que vamos a hablar sobre lo que más le puede interesar a la gente, que es hablar sobre la parte de hacer arte canónico, de cómo funciona canonizar el arte.
Okay, so we'll switch a bit now and talk about something that might be really interesting to people, and it's how is making a canon approved art, how making canon art gone for you, and how is it different, or how do you face it, the difference between fan art and canon art?
There's just a lot more research. I have access to things I didn't. Oops. Yeah, there you go. Just as a pure fan artist, I can search all of the books for any sort of keyword I want. And wait, now I forget.
Don't worry.
And then every week we review with Dragonsteel. And a lot of that is important because some of these things that we're depicting, I'm like, has this ever been drawn before? Or if it has been drawn, it's only been drawn one time. I was just talking to Ben McSweeney about Spren, and I was telling him, I have an illustration. I'm going to look at my chat with him. I have an illustration, and we're going to make it. It's going to have Spren in it. And I said, I don't know what laughter Spren looks like. I mean, I know what it's described as, but has there been a drawing? And he's like, oh yeah, well, he's talking about how to do that, like how to create the canonical laughter spread. So we have to do that stuff all the time.
Entiendo que tenías reuniones con Dan y con Brandon. No sé si nos puedes explicar un poco, porque claro, es como un dream job, ¿no? Esto.
I heard Brandon. So that's a whole other thing. Wait, go ahead.
So we're wondering how, as you'll probably have meetings with both Dan and Brandon, and this is probably a dream job to basically, I guess, every Cosmere artist. How do you face those meetups, and more or less, is it possible to know a bit how they are, how they work, how do you do with them?
Like, how is the meetings with Brandon? So Brandon, for the most part, he's so into writing books that he lets a lot of the canonical decisions. I mean, the books lay out how it is. So he's wrote the books, and then from there, it's easy to figure it out. You don't always have to ask him or talk to him. That said, I think he needs to do a big check of everything, and that could be a nightmare. But he really just wants to, he wants to put down Stormlight mentally and write some other book. That's what he wants to do, and that's why he's hired people, so he can do that. But in terms of being nervous, I'm not nervous around Brandon. He's just a normal person, just like anyone else. It's fine. Even though you're a fan, he's just normal. You get used to the guy.
Sí, no era tanto el si estabas nerviosa o no, sino cómo funcionaban las reuniones.
It's not that much about if being nervous at all, but more or less how do the meetings work? How do they unfold?
Well, Brandon, for like I said, it is shocking to hear, but he really wants to write all kinds of other books, and he mentally can't be thinking about Stormlight when he's writing this other book. It's hard on his brain. It's like, so he's like, I'm not the visual expert anyway. You guys just figure it out. If there's something really weird, you have to ask him, how does, what's it called? Some of the surges, how do the certain surges look? But still, we're able to make a lot of those decisions based off the text. And there's not constant meetings with Brandon about it, because that's how he wants it. He wants to put it down and write some other book, the Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England. He wants to write that book. He just can't think about both.
Es entendible. Ahora que has
But
hablado
isn't that kind of crazy? Isn't it? Because he could be 100% the Stormlight guy. He could. It's so popular. It's I think it's cool that he's creative and has such a creative soul that he just wants to do other things.
Sí.
Right?
Yeah,
De
I
hecho,
think
lo ha
that's
dicho
what
algunas veces que él necesita, una vez acaba de escribir un libro del archivo, borrar eso de su mente y cambiar hacia otra cosa porque si no le explota el cerebro.
Yeah, he said that when he finishes writing something for Stormlight, he needs to totally switch off and go to a different thing, because
Mhm.
otherwise his brain just
That's
gets
right.
too tired.
Ahora que has hablado de cambiar de Rorschach, vamos a cambiar un poco del Cosmere RPG al juego de cartas de Mistborn. Has estado trabajando a la vez en como mínimo 3 juegos, el Cosmere RPG, el juego de cartas de Mistborn y el Shards of Creation. ¿Cómo haces para no liarte y decir, ok, ahora es el setting de Rorschach, ahora es el setting de Mistborn y ahora es el setting de Shards of Creation?
So let's move on from Russia for some time now.
Okay.
You've been working on 3 different games, which are RPG, Shards of Creation, and Mistborn card game. How do you manage not to switch your mind state from one game to another one, and to just let go if you're working on Mistborn one day, then next day doing Russia? Or how do you manage to keep your mind free and not get things mixed up?
It's hard. It's hard. It's hard for me too. I have, as I've gotten more into working, I've realized like meditation, like I need to like be meditating, like mentally letting things go and just like recentering and because I have to find my creative groove if I'm suddenly going from art directing to creating art for Shards of Creation, just kind of figuring out how myself works too.
Es muy difícil cambiar el estilo artístico, tanto tuyo como el de los otros artistas, de un planeta a otro, de Roshar a Scadrial, por ejemplo. Porque yo cuando veo una ilustración sé que es de Roshar o sé que es de Scadrial o de otro planeta.
Is it tough to change your style depending on both yours as an artist, as a director, and the other artist's style depending on the planet you're working on? Because as viewers, as just people who love the art, we can totally know which planet we're looking at just by a split second, just by
Yeah.
as a quick snap.
Yes. There's been some really funny moments where on on Roshar, everybody has everybody has a spear, and everyone's like Asian in that they have epicanthic folds and like a certain like nose bridge and everything. So, and that's a lot of the art direction. Oh, give them a spear. Make sure that they look Asian. And then I went from that, and then the next day I was doing Mistborn, and I'll admit this happened. Is I sent someone a brief, and it was a Mistborn jumping through a stained glass window, and I wrote and said they're jumping through, and they have a black glass dagger spear. So like,
Oh,
so then they said I didn't know I had typed that because I was just, like my brain was confused, and they sent back a sketch of this Mistborn jumping through like the glass, and they just have this huge spear, and I was like, ah! And so I tried to play it cool, like, oh, you know what? We've decided the spear's just too big. Like, why don't you just give them glass daggers? But really, I was like, I made such a stupid mistake,
it
And then
has to
the
be
same
honest.
things happened on Scadrial with like ethnicities. Anyway, so yeah, but the spear thing is a funny example.
Sí, me ha gustado el ejemplo. ¿Qué nos puedes decir del juego de construcción de mazos de Mistborn? Sabemos que saldrá aproximadamente sobre noviembre, así que a nivel de arte, aparte de lo que hemos visto, ¿qué nos puedes contar?
So we know that the deck building game will be out around November. Is there anything you can tell us art-wise and about the game?
Let's see. So it'll be out November 7th. It has a lot of really cool art. When I was working on it, I was trying to think about the game as a whole. So I was trying to world build Mistborn through the cards. So when I was given a card and it was assassinate, I just literally just had that word to go off of. And I would sit there and say, well, how do I decide this image? And I go, well, I want to world build Mistborn. That's my goal. And so I go, well, what pops up in Mistborn? What visuals pop up in Mistborn over and over again? That you don't know that's become part of what Mistborn is to you. It's and some of those. One of the visuals I landed on was carriages. That they're constantly traveling in carriages. So I said, the assassinate card is a noble being assassinated, like in a carriage, because I was trying to get the carriage in. Does that make sense? Like I'm trying to
Sí.
world build. You've got carriages, you've got balls, you've got stained glass, you've got canals. You don't even think, but there's a lot about canals, spires. Like what visuals make up Mistborn, and how can I get that into this game?
Ahora que has mencionado las cristaleras, me parece una idea excepcional haber hecho que los poderes, como los metales, las imágenes hayan sido con cristaleras.
So, as you've mentioned, the windows and the stained windows, he's just commenting that he finds it a really, really great idea that the images and the art is gone through it and it's gone through the stained windows. It's done with it.
La parte de los metales.
Yeah, in relation to metals and stuff, like the metal-related stuff.
You mean the stained glass with the allomantic symbols? Have you seen those, or is that what you're referring to?
Hemos visto algunos metales que se usan como poderes, entiendo, en el juego. Cada uno es una cristalera.
We've seen a few of them that we guess they're used as abilities in game or powers, and each of them is a glass-stained window.
Uh-huh. Oh, for like the cards that are the design, like the art. Yeah, like Austin's cards that he made. Yeah, those are really cool. Yeah. Those are gorgeous. The stained glass power cards. Yeah. Those are really cool.
Lo que sabemos también es que hay 4 personajes de la era 1, como mínimo, pero no hemos visto mucha cosa de la era 2. Entonces, claro, nos esperamos algún tipo de sorpresa, como hemos visto con la transformación de Stormlight RPG a Cosmere RPG. No sé si nos puedes contar algo de esto. O...
So we've seen 4 characters from Era 1 in the game, and we have no information about Era 2, but seeing the Cosmere RPG changing from Stormlight to Cosmere, we're kind of expecting of a surprise, maybe something from Era 2. Is there anything we can expect, or anything that will be around?
Oh, with Era 2 Stormlight?
No, Era 2 Mistborn, Era 2 Mistborn, just as the Stormlight switched to
Cosmere, sorry, Era 2
so...
Mistborn. A surprise? I mean, I could let you know in a little bit. Right now I'm still on Roshar, but
okay. Es un
I'm
mini
sure
rajo.
there'll be one of the. Right now we've just been working on designing because the RPGs have heroes, main hero characters that you can play, that you can pick which, like, do you want to be the warrior? Do you want to be the thief? You pick a character. And one of the fun characters right now, she has a flapper dress that ends in Mistborn tassels. and she has like a ghost blood. She has a mare will
Sí,
flower in
sí,
her
sí, sí,
hair.
sí, sí, sí.
You've seen it, yeah. And there's also the insane Ellendale map that Marco did.
Es increíble.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's totally amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
So those are
los-
two things that we have right now that are really cool.
Vale. Me refería a si el juego de cartas de Mistborn tendrá también elementos de Era 2 de Mistborn.
Okay, and about the card game, will it have Era 2 elements too, or will it just stay to Era 1?
Okay. So the visuals don't. They're just Era 1. And I think that was for a reason. I think there might be some more plans for that game. I can't remember exactly, but and I don't want to say because I don't remember exactly, but it's just right now it's just Era 1.
Ok. Ok. Me lo tomaré como un mini Rafo.
It'll
Yeah. Half-o. Look at my tongue is blue.
Yeah.
I had some ice cream. That's funny. Don't
Vale.
cut that. That's funny.
No. I will not cut that.
Okay.
Vale, y ahora, además de... No sé bien qué preguntarte sobre Shards of Creation, porque no hay mucha información sobre ello, pero has dicho que tú has estado trabajando en algunas ilustraciones, así que no sé si nos puedes contar qué tipo de ilustraciones has hecho. Sabemos que no estarán todas las Shards, pero bueno, a lo mejor puedes decir algo.
So also, there's not a lot of information regarding Shards of Creation game. You've told us you've done a little bit of art for it, and that you've been working on it too.
Yeah.
We also know
show you
not
kinda.
every shard's gonna be around. Is there anything you can tell us about the game? Because actually, we barely know anything.
Yeah. So it's a trick, like a trick something game. Here, I have some of the prototype cards. Let's see here. Are they here yet? That's cool too. Look at this. I got these from Gen Con.
Oh. I got this one.
Oh, you do? Where'd you get it?
Haha. And I have some more things.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even get one. I need to get one of those.
I can give you one.
I'll get one of those. But yeah. So these are the cards that I stole. Don't tell Johnny that I stole them. But there's the prototypes. I don't want to show them too clearly because like they're
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. But the idea, odium, ambition, anyway, like some kind of, but that's totally filler art because the art's going to look like this.
Oh.
I'm not supposed
So
to
beautiful.
really show.
Oh my god.
It's incredible.
I'm not supposed to really show this, so I'll just kind of go like.
You will have to stop the video.
Yeah. But that's what the art will look like.
Muchas gracias.
Really,
es
thank
increíble.
you so much for showing us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Sabemos que saldrán más o menos el juego saldrá más o menos en 2025, pero una fecha más aproximada no tenemos, ¿no?
We know the game is coming at 2025, but there's no more info about the date. Is there any approximate date we can know, like maybe Q1, Q2, that the game's gonna be
For
around?
Shards of Creation? That's a good question. I was wondering that too. Like I said, I'm just doing Roshar right now, but I'm like, what does Shards of Creation do? But I just can't even think about it right now. So
No problem.
I don't know.
No.
I really don't. Like, because Johnny owns the company and with his brother, and they talk about the games, you know. And then when Johnny comes to me, he's just talking to me about like, what do we need to do today? Here's the art that we need, you know. So I know I could ask him, but like I don't even want to think about it. I'm just like so on Roshar and just working on the RPG.
Ya para cerrar el tema de Shards of Creation, entiendo que es un juego más contenido, es más pequeño, así que habrá menos cantidad de arte, ¿no?
So to close and to wrap up Shards of Creation, we understand it's a smaller game. It's a way smaller game. Will it have less art or will it stay the same way?
Less art?
Yeah, less amount of art, just not like 400
I mean,
pieces of art.
you have no. So you have like honor and down. Like I don't know if these are gonna stay like this, right? But right now in this prototype, don't know if it's gonna stay. No, you know. Okay, I'll just say you have honor, endowment, preservation, ruin, cultivation. I think there's devotion. Like there's just autonomy, ambition, and then I think it's like 8 or 9 of the shards, and that would like basically be it.
Okay. Vale,
Yeah.
Ahora algo que nos dijo, que dijo Johnny en una entrevista precisamente en un medio español, fue que también estabais preparando un wargame del Cosmere, que esto será, supongo que para dentro de mucho tiempo, pero no sé si nos... Entiendo que no, pero bueno, por si acaso, no sé si nos puedes decir alguna cosa, algún detalle, algo.
So in an interview some time ago, Johnny said something about a wargame, a Cosmere wargame.
Yeah.
Is there any information about it? Is it just waiting or?
I don't know if there's any public information. I've heard Johnny talk about it, and I've heard Brandon talk about it. I think it's supposed to be pretty epic, but that's all I know right now.
Era de esperar.
It's epic.
It's what we expected, more or less.
Yeah.
Perfecto. Ya para ir cerrando ya, me gustaría hacerte un par de últimas preguntas. La primera es de qué es de todo el proceso de la creación del juego del Cosmere RPG, del juego de cartas, ¿de qué es lo que te sientes más orgullosa? ¿Qué es lo que crees que has marcado una diferencia?
So the last few questions, just to wrap up, what do you feel the most proud about in the directing process of the RPG game, and how do you feel you made a difference?
I feel most proud about I want to say something corny like being kind to the artists, you know. I want to say something corny. I don't know, but that's really how I feel. I try really hard to be nice. I send a lot of emails, and each one I try to tell them it's hard to be an artist. It's hard to have people constantly reviewing your work. And we have to send a lot of feedback, and I feel so much angst for these artists. I pray for them every day. I just I want them to feel happy and fulfilled, and I want them to be happy with the art that they're making and not to be frustrated by feedback. And so I try really hard in each email to tell them something I genuinely really love about what they're doing. And then I send them like 10 pieces of, you have to change this. And like, that's hard because that's the job. But I try really hard to make him happy at the end. But I'm also trying to make the fans happy. And so that's why I send them that 10 pieces of you need to change this because this is what the fans want. I work really hard for that. I work hard for the artists and I work hard for the fans.
Me parece muy bonito, muy loable.
It's something really beautiful and honorable to do. Just to take as much care of the fans as you take of the artists, and especially the other way around, just taking as much care of the artists as you take of us.
Trying really hard.
Para terminar, creo que lo mejor es que puedas enviar un mensaje a a los fans y sobre todo a los artistas que están empezando? ¿Qué consejo les darías a esos artistas que están descubriendo el Cosmere o que están empezando a dibujar cosas del Cosmere?
So as the last question, and what kind of advice would you like, and if you want to say something to the fun artists that are starting or they're keeping and working and they're working really hard to create stuff they love, what's a tip you would give them, some advice for them, and if you want to tell them anything, any nice words or any...
For the fan artist,
Yeah.
I mean, as if you're a fan artist, if you're a fan of these books, like, and if this RPG keeps going on for like another 2 decades or whatever, like, we want to hire you. Why? Because you're a fan. So you get it. You know, we want to hire you. All you need to be doing on your end is working on the fundamental basics of art. So look at your drawing skills. And I think for art, I think the hardest thing of art, and this would be specifically not interesting to you guys, but it's for art. The hardest thing about art is drawing. You know, it's anatomy, it's how the bones work, it's how the knuckles work, it's how they line up. Like, you know, when you're drawing, if you drew the knuckles like this, that's wrong. You know, but you have to, if you know, oh, it goes like, you have to understand anatomy and drawing. And if you can have like a flourishing skill as an artist, plus you're a fan artist, like, you just will work on this RPG. You will. We want you. We want to hire you.
Gracias, porque es mucho más de lo que esperaba y me parece muy bonito.
It's a really beautiful thing and encouraging message to the artists, and thank you for it. It's...
Yeah. Thank you.
Bueno, la verdad que más o menos el podcast yo creo que ya queda cerrado, 1 hora. Me han quedado muchísimas cosas por preguntarte, pero no quiero robarte más tiempo. Solo darte la palabra por si quieres decir alguna última cosa, mandar algún mensaje, lo que tú quieras.
So after this hour, we're just gonna wrap up the podcast. But before, it's been an hour, but before finishing and before closing the episode, we wanted you to send any message you want. If you want to send it to anyone, to the whole community, to a special person, to whoever, just send the message to want.
A message? I can send a message to the fans? I mean, fans in Spain, that's who's watching this, right?
Bueno, estará publicado en inglés y en español, así que lo que tú quieras.
We hope both, because it'll be posted both in English and Spanish.
Well, I have a message for the fans in Spain. I am so sorry that I made the mistake of not taking Spanish in high school, and I'm very sorry. I wish I could speak to you in your language, and I really hope someday I can meet you in Spain, because I've heard a lot about the fans in Spain, and I just think that's awesome, and I'd love to meet you guys someday.
Whenever you want to come, you'll be way more than welcome.
Okay.
Así que, pues nada, como ya habéis oído, artistas del Cosmere, por favor, trabajad mucho para que os podamos ver en los próximos libros del Cosmere RPG o del próximo juego, del Wargame, de lo que sea. Así que nada, ya sabéis, como dice nuestro querido oyente Kelsier, siempre habrá otro capítulo de podcast más. Así que hasta el siguiente. Bye bye.
Bye.
Adiós.